Hi, this is a brief overview of the self-assessment system code to date. Now, it is not complete, and there is no CSS, so there's no styling either. The purpose of this release is to allow Nick Emerson and Nick May to get students subscribed to goals in our classes today and tomorrow. So I'll briefly show you where we are to date. Now, currently I'm just using this little ambulance icon. It will appear on every page, but you currently can't call the system from the front page and possibly some of the e-learning pages. They use a different template, but in principle it's available on every page. However, there is a caveat, which is that the pop-up system that I'm using that works so well for discussions is not working reliably for the self-assessment system. And I'm still getting to the bottom of it. It works fine on my server, it does not work fine on the Lurk server. So you may have to click this a few times, or basically, if it doesn't work, navigate to another page, try it again. Do not force refresh. It's a timing issue possibly at the back of it. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so that works. So, all being well, that is what you will see when you log in for the first time. What we're going to do is we're going to go to class goals and we're going to assign some goals to this particular class. Now, we may want different goals in different classes. So let's go there. Class goals. So now we're now displaying all of the goals which are in my goal library. Now, my goal library is made up of a set of system goals which are shared amongst everybody and my personal goals that I've created. Now, creating personal goals isn't in this release, that will come shortly. So we're mostly system goals here, apart from one that I hard-coded just for testing. So let's select some goals: vocab notebook, e-learning, speaking, word tests, English TV, English audio, English blogs. I'm going to select all of them apart from English events. Okay, now the little sharing icon indicates it's from the system library, it's a system goal, and the little mortarboard indicates that it is a teacher level goal, so other people won't see that. Students will if you select it, obviously. Okay, so let's select it to show it to students, in fact. Now these goals are dyadic goals. They have two parts, basic and advanced, and the student must sign up to them, but they can choose which one they sign up to. Now, there will be an icon to indicate that these are forced subscribe goals. I just haven't got around to putting it on the screen yet. Okay, so we have created our goals. Now, you can see at the top in the interface, the update button has now become active. And the class changer has now become deactive. That is because we've done something on here that requires a change. So let's click update. There we go. And it's updated it in the database, and we can now, the interface becomes live again. So let's go and look at our events. We've attached these goals to that class, and this is what we see in the events panel. Now, an event is basically an opportunity for the students to do an assessment, a self-assessment. We don't want them to be able to do multiple assessments outside of our control. I mean, one every 5 minutes would be ridiculous. So we actually set up an assessment event. Now, this isn't tied to a particular time because a class isn't tied. Well, classes are tied to times, but even so, for different users, classes are at different times on different days and so on. So we call it week 1, but that's just a tag, and week 2, that's just a tag. Okay? And the point is that we're going to decide which of these goals we're going to show to the user, to the student, on these particular assessment event times. Now, the reason we do this is we may not actually want to show them, for example, something about a speaking task if we haven't done speaking in the previous homework or in that class. Now, there is a case for saying that these should all be checked and then you uncheck them later. Okay, so I checked all of these. And update has become live, so I can now update. And there's also this here called revert. Now this needs to go on the end there when I clean up the CSS and the layout for this. Let's click revert. Oh, and we've gone back to how we were before. Okay, let's do it all again. Okay, and now let's click update. Okay, so we've now clicked update. So what we've done there is we've created a list of goals that we're going to use in this particular class, and those are the goals that will be presented to the students. And then we have associated those goals with particular events so that on different days different goals will be shown to the student for them to do their self-assessment on. Okay, so the next stage is for students to actually subscribe to their goals. Now what we have here, these little things here, you click them and they will copy the link into your clipboard. And it says blah 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 blah. Now this isn't very elegant, but in fact we do want them in the clipboard because probably we're going to be pasting them as links into our into forums or into when we're setting homework or whatever. Okay, so there we are. So goal setting link. So this is where students can go to subscribe to goals. Now I can't actually show you one of my students, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to subscribe to the goals as a teacher, because the teacher is a member of the class and therefore the teacher can subscribe to the goals that they've set because they're just a member of the class in addition to being the teacher. Now I thought about removing that functionality and squashing it for the teacher, but it's actually very useful because it lets you see exactly what the student will see. Okay, so this is where the student must select the goals. Now typically they will do this once at the beginning of the semester. Okay, now at the very top you see this is a teacher level goal, a goal that the teacher created, and you can't do that just yet. And then below that we have all of the system level goals that we added in. So let's select. Okay, so we're going to sign up to the advanced for those and the basic for that one. And of the 3 challenge goals we associated with the class, we're going to sign up to this one and we're going to add our own goal. My own goal. Okay, oops. Okay, let's just check it can do Japanese. It should be able to. Watashi gai. Okay. And set becomes active down here. So we set there and it goes off and it creates my goal and it subscribes people. Now we can actually set in the interface how many of their own goals users can actually create there, and they can edit their goal. Currently they can't delete it because I need to add the deletion code in a wrapper so that they can confirm it. Okay, and as you can see we're subscribed to the various things there. So that is the full task that I'm going to ask my students to do tomorrow, and that Nick Emerson is going to ask his students to do this afternoon. Okay, so yeah, the students done that, so they should then go back to well, wherever they are. Okay, so let's navigate back to the, is this going to show me? No, it isn't, bastard. So let's go to the grade screen. For some reason it seems to be more reliable on the grade screen. Alright, there we go. Okay, so this is the goal setting link where the students can subscribe. You're going to probably use that just once. Now, at the end of a class or at the beginning of a class, whenever you want to do it, you actually want to give the students a link so that they can actually go off and do their self-assessment. Now, this will actually show you the goals on the screen, but it's not ready for students yet. They're going to be doing that next week, so there's all kind of code that needs to be written for it. But basically, the important stuff is in place. So let's click that. So we're now going to paste this into a link somewhere, and this is where students go off to actually do their self-assessment. Okay, now obviously we'll put the which week it is at the top and so on and so on. And they go in there, and these will be stars, and they click their things. Now, as you can see down here, the student's own link is in, own goal is in there, and all of the goals that we selected. So let's actually just change that. Let's say that we want to not show them some of these goals. Let's update that. And we don't want to include student goals. So let's deselect that there. Okay, so let's go back there, refresh the page, and whoops, did I update it? I didn't update. Silly me. Stupid boy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now you can see that the student's own goal has disappeared, because maybe we don't want the students to do a self-assessment on their own goal every single week. Probably we do, but there we go. And I switched off various goals in this interface. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 goals in there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. E-learning, read English blogs. Element 1 of a... Right, hold on a second. Let's refresh that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why have we got 6? Because we have... That's a different one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've switched off. Speaking, word test, English audio, English auto. The KSU word book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's switch that off. Okay, so update. Actually, let's switch them all off apart from that one. Okay. And there. Damn. Complete valid on time every week. Use example sentences to the kids. Ah! Okay, I'm just double printing the goals for some reason. Okay, don't worry about that. They're identical, these two, which means I'm echoing the print statement twice, but there's actually only one goal there. So yes, it's a bug, but students won't see it, and it's not a database level bug. It's just I'm printing the wrong stuff. Okay, vocab web. So if I do e-learning, presumably it will now show me 4 and not 2. Yeah, okay, right. Don't have to worry about that. Do e-learning breaking to at least 60 by week 13. Right. Now, in actual fact, it's not showing the advanced section if you're subscribed to advanced. That's just something I forgot to do. But as I'm saying, students don't see this week. Students will see this next week when all of this will be in place, and they'll be able to do their own self-assessments. Okay, so just returning to here, other things on here. We can take the entire system offline for this particular class by making it inactive. Okay, so now if the student goes here, whoops, did we update that? Yes, we did. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I've not written the code there. Ah, I know. Right. Okay, I've not written the code for that. If you go to the goal setting link, that will be inactive. Okay, the class is registered for self-assessment, but the teacher has switched self-assessment off for now. That's what we'll say on the other one as well. And you can also make it inaccessible by students. So let's switch that. And then this one. Okay, so that switches off the oops, hold on. Accessible by students, inactive. Okay, and then inaccessible by students, then update. Okay, so what does that show? This event is offline because I made it inaccessible. There. Okay, so going back to our interface. It's active, but the event is not accessible by students. So because it's active, students can see the goal setting, but they can't see the event. Now let's say we want to switch goal setting off completely. Then allow class up here, this line here, allow subscribe, students can subscribe. Students can create and edit up to one of their own goals. Now that's what it's set up as a default, however we don't actually want that after we've allowed them to subscribe. So let's switch that off, and that off, and that off, and update. There. So now when we see this, these are the goals you are subscribed to. You cannot change this subscription unless your teacher allows. Okay? So all of the buttons are disabled. and it doesn't show set. So they can see what goals they're subscribed to, but they can't actually do anything about it to change it. Okay, so the goal setting stuff is completely done. As you saw on the actual doing the self-assessments, that will be done next week, in time for next week, because that's when we need it. Now, this page here, I'm going to spend the next hour changing the design of this. This is copied over from some files that Nick Emerson did to begin with, and they work fine on a computer, but they're not so good on a KTI. So I'm going to spend an hour or so just changing the CSS on this so that they're viewable in a KTI, because he has a class this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Okay, so that's the target, 3 o'clock. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot still to do. Reporting, I've not started that yet because it's, open quotes, easy, because it's just getting stuff from the database and splashing it on the page. As you can see here, these are all the users in the class, and so on and so on. And over here is where we will create and edit our own goals, if we want them. Okay, so there we are.